Hello, welcome to HBCU Creatives. I'm your host, Destiny, aka Des the Kid, and I'm here with a fellow Bison. Now, because you're a Bison, I'm gonna make you do your Howard intro. Let's hear it.
Well, what's good? How y'all doing? My name is Ryan Hampton. I am a senior TV and film major, minoring in political science, and I am from Dallas, Texas.
That was kind of good. I'll give you like 10 out of 10.
I appreciate that.
Okay, you're welcome. So you mentioned that you're a TV and film major. Can you tell me a little bit about what got you started into film and why you decided to pursue that career?
Sometimes it's really as simple as the fact that I watched a lot of old school kung fu movies with my dad growing up. So like one of my earliest like movies I remember watching was like Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon. And yeah, just that type of like exposure to film and just how and like the characters and how and where the locations of where it's shot, it made me want to see the rest of the world and see and all that. So like in different movies I watch, I got experiences of different worlds and different cultures and different storylines, and it got me interested in like, wow, how did they make that? And then at some point, it's been a rabbit hole of watching when you watch movies like DVDs back in the day, and it had like the behind the scenes like documentaries like on the CDs and stuff. I did a whole bunch of watchings of those growing up, and subsequently when I came to Howard, I was like, you know what? I'll just try film because I have absolutely no idea what else I want to like major in. So here I am figuring it out.
Let me just try film. If only like that easy. So you mentioned Enter the Dragon. Do you have any like inspirations like director wise or like film wise, like movie wise or TV wise? Like what are your favorites? What are your favorites?
My favorite movies? That is so hard because I watch so many. But movies I grew up loved watching. One movie that's just strictly just comedy, but it was like my first exposure to like just pro-blackness and comedy and everything is Undercover Brother. With like like Eddie Griffin and his huge afro at the time. Enter the Dragon, since that's my first one, is definitely like my cult classic film. I've abused that movie thousands of times. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Just for like the space odyssey opera of it, just for like the climactic, like just stakes of it all, and just like that sense of wonder and excitement into like the universe afar. It's like I love movies like that's just my thing to watch. But I have so many, but those are like my big three.
There are so many there's so much Star Wars content. I don't know how you do it. I cannot keep up. All I know is Kylo Ren, Daisy Ridley, and then the black dude who everyone kind of like forgot about.
Yeah. John, wow. Okay. First of all, we're not gonna just disrespect.
No, the movie, like everyone said that his character was like they forgot about his character and they made him like a side character.
They did, my boy dirty. I heard you.
Not John, but I wasn't saying that they forgot him. I would never. I love him.
But I know what you mean though. They definitely like he became like a pivotal part of like the first part of the trilogy, and then they switched directors, and then just my man, who's his name? I just only like the movies. I don't know who the director is of the new trilogy ones. Crazy. Shout out to George Lucas though. He built the empire.
Everyone knows crazy. I agree. Even me, a non-stan, if you will, has to agree. So we are a part of Gen Z. Everyone loves to tell us and does not let us forget. And our generation is very much about changing the world and doing things our own way. So what are some things that you would change in the film industry or just like change the way film is perceived?
What I would change in the film industry, I believe, and maybe this is more easier said than done, but I just kind of feel like the notion that you have to go to Hollywood to make it, I really hate that that's like the norm. Because yes, that's probably where all like the studios and executives and all the people networking like happen. And I'm sure that's because of historical context of Hollywood up to this point, it's still like a solidified place for you to take any work seriously. But I don't like Hollywood because I just feel like it's just one, racism, obviously, for Black directors and actors and producers and of any kind who wants to put any type of entertainment media that represents their own culture, people. It's just always, and even in 2021, still shut down. I just would just think that if there was like way that executives, or at least production branches, was like to move to like different like states in the United States, like if 20th Century Fox create like a whole nother sector in Atlanta or something where like there'd be like, if we're just talking white folks for like 5 seconds, like I'm just saying like it would just be cool if like you opened up more studios in like other like big time cities where people are very talented. If you still want to have that whole Hollywood empire, I just say like bring the industry to the people where they actually can like afford it, because not every, you got talented people that can't afford, or really they can't afford LA, or they just can't deal with LA, or just like, or you're probably like, I'm stumbling all over this, but I'm just saying, or maybe you're like, disconnecting a bag for yourself because you don't know of any other good creatives out in like Chicago or Atlanta or New York or like Dallas, Texas or something. Like there's creators everywhere that deserve just as much to be in the industry, but who won't have that opportunity. So bring the industry to them. But outside of that, I just also say like I like the notion, if anything that I see changing that I hope is still like a gravy train, is that I love all the Black content that's being put out, all of it, from like the really good poignant pieces to like just the cut and dried terrible
It's
Tyler
dry.
Perry. I think both mediums exist for a purpose. So I love it all. I mess with all of it.
What I'm hearing is you kind of want to do that, like Tyler Perry. Didn't he make like a whole studio in Atlanta, like his own studio? Is that something that you would do? Because you said that you don't like the whole Hollywood thing. So what is your solution to that then?
Well, so disclaimer about Tyler Perry. Do I think he needs to have better writing in his movies? Absolutely. Should he stop making people wear wigs when he don't have to? Absolutely. Should he maybe stop making so many movies about Black women like trauma? For sure.
Yes, the answer is yes. It will always be
All
yes.
of, all of that is true. However, I just think it is safe to say, if we're just realistically speaking, just outsiders looking in, how he was able to correlate all this like wealth in industry by himself in the industry, because ain't nobody let him in the early 2000s or late 90s dressing up as a woman and doing plays. Like no white man in LA or in just the Hollywood industry is just letting him do that. Like he paved his way, he got his coin, he bought thousands of acres of land, created a space to make mediocre like films that he wants to do. But he has the means to do that and has the clout and ability to do that. And I can't be mad at a person who is very comfortable in his mediocrity because he's creating jobs. Because he's creating jobs, and it's just like it is like a foot in the door for something better for somebody else individually speaking. So it's just like, yeah, I can appreciate a Tyler Perry that's like walking what people are talking about doing. Doesn't matter if like the content or it's the best of quality, it's like he's doing it, so.
Okay, so since you think his movies are mediocre, as a Black filmmaker, what do you think makes a good film?
Sometimes I think, and then that's kind of like a hard thing about being like a Black filmmaker. I think whatever you decide to take to tell a story about is like your duty and your responsibility to like do whatever story you want to make justice to the best of your capability. So it's like research a topic, make or explore like a theory or idea or philosophy about something, and then invite people along that see the vision and also have something to like help magnify, like exemplify like what story you want to tell. It's like being a Black filmmaker is like being any other filmmaker. Like you just gotta be a student of life, a student of the arts, and just like truly like sit and like with yourself, figure out for yourself like what stories you want to tell. And they can be a whole bunch. It doesn't have to be secularly just like Black people like stories and stuff like that. It's like I feel like Black directors and filmmakers deserve to like step into sci-fi lanes or just a whole bunch of different lanes or genres of filming that they think is cool, or if they're inspired by like some old European, Italian like work, and you can reconstruct it into like an intersectionality that you identify as, that would be cool too. I just think there's no such thing as a Black film, just great and meaningful stories if you really like are intentional about it, I think.
I see.
Shout out to Blaxploitation films though. They lit anyway.
Okay, so we're gonna backtrack a bit, and you said how you got to Howard and you decided to be a filmmaker. Like you decided to like, this is where I'm gonna pursue my dream. What about Howard made you make that decision?
So I graduated high school with zero college. Any of the schools I applied for like accepting me because my grades wasn't the best. So I went to a community college for like a couple of semesters, but not anything to like graduate with an associate's. But one day, I really can't tell you why. I think it was one day I was just sitting here thinking like, I know I want to go to undergraduate school. I just don't know, like go to school for undergrad at a university. I just don't know where. And then I remember I had a teacher at high school. I think his name was Mr. Williams. And I was recalling like him just having like a spiel, like he was just monologuing about like HBCUs at one point. And then I was just like, HBCUs, let me look that up. And then, found like I was looking at like Prairie View, A&M, and Texas Southern, but at the time I didn't want to go to school with people that I went to high school with because at the time I was young, I was naive, I was just like, these kids are dumb. I don't want to be in school with them. So I don't want to, I spent enough time with them in my young life. I want to like see something different. I want to see a whole different spectrum of life outside of my norm. Just like I want to go to school as if I'm being transported into a whole different dimension. And then that's how Howard came across, where it's just like, oh, it's on the East Coast, it's in Washington, DC. It's, just I know that's just a whole different vibe and culture and way of going about things. And I looked into Howard, and Howard, they real good with their marketing strategy because you see all the alumni, you hear about the homecomings, you see it as this pinnacle place of like this safe haven for just Black expression and Black advancement, and you want to be a part of that if that's how you feel, if you feel called in that manner to do so. Like it felt like it would have been an honor to have attended a university with that type of like stature, if how it carries itself. So, and then I also believed in myself, like I deserve and believe I can be a part of that like legacy in my own way, and everything be an extension of that. Like I'm worthy of being a part of like that mission statement. So I was like, let me give Howard a shot. And I was like, let me give Howard a shot and everything. And here we are.
I find it really cool, well, for lack of a better word, cool that it was a teacher who told you about Howard, because my guidance counselors did not even know that Howard was a school. Like they were not leading me to believe that Howard was like impressive. The only thing I knew about Howard, like to be honest, don't know how I got in, was that it was an HBCU. It was like really fun, really cool. And my sister went there. And I was like, let's go.
Sometimes that's all you need. Like sometimes you don't even need like the whole like drawn out like answer of why you're there. Sometimes your life journey, you just end up where you at, just to in your own personal growth, just to see where you would go and just have fun with it along the way.
No, definitely. Because now that we're there, it's giving very much big head. I have a big head. You can't tell me anything about it.
For sure.
Presidential,
If you hating outside the club,
they can't even get in. Very much. Okay, so my last question for you today is, I know you're a senior. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But when you become a senior, that also means you have to have a thesis. Do you know? You look a little. Do you know like what direction you're going in for your thesis? Like, what does a thesis look like for a film major?
Thesis should look like for a film major like you, being fully capable of like putting all the lessons and technical things that you've learned over time through your course of your matriculation
Mhm.
to like really like intentfully create something to the best of your ability at the end of the year, to be like, these past 4 years, from camera frames to writing a story to writing down like budgeting and like contacting and networking with other actors and just being a student of like the technical craft to make this digital art that you see. It's like for you to really a chance for you to just have all the tools like allotted to you to be able to do it to the best of your capacity, to like really just stamp off that SOC School of Communications TV and film just degree statement, like just to see if you really paid attention. But for me, I'm actually very excited to get into my thesis for the course. I currently do not know how I'm going to go about it as of yet. However, this is the perfect time, to just like get into it and like in the summertime, write down pitch ideas, go for a walk, research some things, read some things, look at like certain scenes from movies that you like or like are fond of, because art can sometimes just be recirculated, and that's not a bad thing at all, because everybody gets inspiration from something and then magnify it in a whole different direction. So that's what I'm currently going with right now, the brainstorming phase, which is usually hard, but the payoff comes off in the end when you manifest what you had on your mind on paper and then physically in film form. It's a great time. I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited for you. Thank you so much for joining me on HBCU Creatives. And I'm very excited to see what you do in the future. Hopefully you get your own little Hollywood. You invite me.
I would love to. I'll definitely do that.
Thank you, because I am your favorite interviewer. Yes.
Of
Yes.
course, you're gonna have to come down to Texas for that. It's gonna be in the heart of downtown Dallas, Triple D. Yes, ma'am. We
About
lit.
that one, it's 90 something here today, and I'm already sweltering. I'm dying. I'm melting. I don't know nothing about Texas. You got to meet me halfway.
All right, we'll talk about it. We'll make money move soon.
Money move soon. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. And this has been HBCU Creatives. I'm your host, Destiny Cantzlaar, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.